Well, good morning, my friends. Today is going to be a different type of a day. I decided, I turn a lot of stuff that's way too big, way too heavy for my lathe. And I don't regret my lathe. I mean, I like my lathe. Don't get me wrong. I'm always looking at lathes that are much beefier and stuff like that. And there's so many great lathes out there. And I'm at a point that I don't think I have a bad lathe at all. I mean, yeah, I like old stuff too. So it has a little bit of sentimental value, even though it doesn't have a long history with me, because I've only had a lathe for going on 2 years. But anyway, I've done a lot to this lathe. It's just a 12-inch old lightweight lathe. It was well built for the time, but I've added riser blocks. To increase the capacity, I've put a counter shaft on it to slow it down. The latest thing I've done was I put a VFD drive and a 1-horse motor on it to get controlled speed on the lathe. So yeah, I've done a lot of things to my lathe, and it stands at a point that I got a great lathe. The only problem is it doesn't hold the mass. It doesn't have the weight that it should have for what I turn. Now, it's more lathe than anything that I could ever dreamed of. Probably more lathe than the manufacturer had ever thought that it could be. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to beef it up. And beefing it up starts at the foundation. And basically what I'm going to do is utilize some of the stand that it has. But I'm going to go through it and I'm going to put some heavy duty lumber both on the base shelf and the lathe bed itself. And then later on I could probably still do something different. So I got a lot of taking apart right now and make a new. So I'm going to time lapse a lot of this video. A lot of it. Probably more than you get to know. But I'll try to slow it down in some areas that I think are maybe important. To me anyway. So anyway, let's get started and see what we got. I'll spin you around and aim it towards where the point of interest is going to be, which is the lathe. And there's my lathe. It's a 12-inch Atlas lathe. Built, I think in the 50s on this one. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start clearing all this up. Clearing up the mess that I got under here, the lumber. I'm going to replace this with a 2-inch full width oak, and I got a 3-inch southern yellow pine plank out there that I used. I did one video of mortise and tenon leg bench. So I got a piece that will be perfect for this, and that piece in itself probably weighs about 50 pounds. So I'll be adding quite a bit of weight to the top. And this is a 1x8, a 2x8 that's here. I'm going to be adding a 3x12 oak. I don't have enough southern yellow pine to do top and bottom. I'd love to do that. So I got to remove the motor out of the way. This one is the old motor. I'm just going to pop it out. It's not bolted or anything. But this one is the one that's functioning. I'm going to remove the motor, like I said. It's on a link belt, so I'll be able to separate it without a problem. Remove my control, remove the lathe from the bed, and the first thing I'm going to do is probably make the base, set that up in place, notch it so it fits nice and tight against the outside of the legs, set the motor back on its base without bolting it down, and then start working it out and make my top. So let's get started. I'll be right back. I gotta cut out right here. I gotta make the cutout for my belts to come through, and that's my next step. I'm gonna pass the circular saw right here, just sink it down on this area and a little bit on the two sides, and then maybe make a hole and get my Sawzall blade in there, or my jigsaw. Jigsaw is not, I don't have any blades that are thick enough to go through this 3.5 inch, because this is a 4x12 plank. So I got a full 3.5 inch thickness on this, and my jigsaw blade will not go all the way through the bottom on that. So, be right back. So I'm going to take the circular saw. I'm just going to go down a little bit over here. Here's my opening. It looks pretty good. Time to test the lathe. See if it's going to fit in. Now this is one area that I'm really not that good at. That's soldering. I'll do one wire at a time. Separate it and solder the other one. My 3 leads. And the green, I'm not using it right now, but I will use it for future to power up the tachometer. So here it is. The lathe is set. Well, the lathe is back in action. And I got a cube over here, which is about 8 inches and 6 inches thick. I'm going to make a little vessel out of this. You know, I'm going to bring this to the bandsaw and I'm going to round this off a little bit so I can get a little bit more balance, more speed out of it, and not beating it up as much. Okay, well, that's going to make life a little bit easier. Not perfect, but easier. Now this is cross grain, so I'll be able to go in here and chew this off rather quick. Just gonna flip it over right now, put it on my 100mm jaws, which is what I got up, and that size should be good. Perfect. The gap on my jaws about 1/8 of an inch opened up. I know that some of you last week when I had a flyaway bowl that kept flying off my chalk were wondering if maybe my jaws were too far open, but they weren't. I mean, sometimes I will do that, but in that case it's not that they were too opened up. You know, because I got wider here, that's my widest point of this whole blank. I'm actually going to redo this. Nothing, did not waste anything, but rather than relying on the bottom being this low, I will maintain the biggest bottom that I can on this. So I'm going to make another tenon here and start shaping it up, and I'll make that the neck. thin coat of Minwax, and I'm going to see what this does. Apply this, let it dry for 5 minutes or so, and then buff it. And I buff it at a high speed, at about 2000 RPMs. Well, good morning, my friends. This video started yesterday. Yesterday I decided, okay, I'm going to beef up my lathe a little bit. And to test it out, I decided that I would put on a little piece of, I want to say it, thought it was carrot wood again. I'm having a hell of a time with this carrot wood and distinguishing between carrot wood and maple. But anyway, I got it on the lathe and I started turning it yesterday, and I decided I wanted to leave it up on the lathe till today and see what it did, if it took any additional color or anything of that sort. And I'm going to refine, finish up the piece, maybe buff it up basically, because I got it pretty good, both inside and outside. It's an okay of a look. It didn't give me exactly what I was looking for, and I think I see the problem. So I'm gonna modify the outside shape a little bit and see where that goes. Let me bring you on the lathe. Well, I think the problem is I'm not completely convinced that this line that I got in here, this transition, is a good transition for the piece. I think I'm going to round that off and then buff it again. Well, sometimes the little subtle changes we make can make a big difference. And I wasn't too crazy about the shape on this, and I wasn't sure exactly what was it that was bothering me. And I still could keep going. I still could make more changes to it, but could have continued this round over a little bit and slimmed up the neck a little bit. But I don't have much room to do that. So I'm going to call it as to what it is. I probably just knocking down this wide neck over here would be enough for me to like this a little bit better. But I've done something like that, so I wanted to create something that was a little bit different. And when you start changing things or designing from head rather than something you might have seen, or you going towards a vision that you got in your mind. I mean, I shouldn't say that, because I did have somewhat a vision of what I wanted out of this, but I guess the vision was not clear enough for me to really see how it was going to pan out, or how it was going to play, or how this neck was going to look against this body, that sort of thing. So it's always a good idea to plan your turning. Well, that's all I'm going to do to it for this. Now it's a matter of seeing how I'm going to flip it over and finish up the base. Well, here it is. Don't know what to call this type of a vase. But it's done. Finish. The big difference on the finish is I got away from something. Know what it is? I say I do it all the time, and yet I did not do it here. I did not use a sanding sealer on this. And I am sure that had I used a sanding sealer on this, this finish would be blinding. It would glow. But it's not doing that. It's just a smooth but not gloss finish. I don't have anything that I could do with sanding on this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the sanding, yet I don't have that gloss. So you want that gloss, apply the applications. But it's different. It's not to say that somebody hasn't done it. What can we do on a lathe that nobody has done? Other than Steve, Temple Boy Turning. I gotta give him this thumbs up. He came up with that CD, making bowls out of CDs. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I knew it was an instant hit. I just knew it's like, what a brilliant idea. But anyway, he's doing amazing with that turning. Good for you, buddy. Anyway, hey, doesn't hurt to give it a thumbs up. Share it if you like it. And don't forget, please subscribe. Take care. See you soon. Oh yeah, I'm back. I was doing another piece that I think the shape was definitely much more pleasing than the one I just finished. And this was the shape that I was working on before. But it decided it wanted to split on me on that pit, on that knot that I had in there, and on the pit a little bit. So for me to do anything with this, I would have to throw it back on the lathe, clean up the step that's in between these this area right here, clean it back up, and then do something with a filler here. But I would have to kind of read through that as well. Now this to me is a pleasing shape. I liked this. I liked the way it was going. I liked the grain on it actually. This one looks a lot better, but it's one of those that did not make it to the showcase, at least not yet. I'll see what I do with this later on.